The campaign says that it raised an eye-popping $90 million last month. That brings their total cash on hand to, wait for it, $192 million. That is the highest total amassed by any Democratic candidate in history at this point in an election cycle. To compare, the Trump campaign said this week it raised $65 million in March, with $93 million in cash on hand.
On his fundraiser, look, Trump in his orbit has a loose relationship with the truth, to say the least. I look forward to seeing their FEC report when they're forced to file in 9 days or so to make sure that that those numbers are what they are. But this is the ultimate point here. Every single dime that you give to the Biden-Harris reelection campaign, we spend talking to voters. We have, since the state, just in the last month or so, we have 100 offices open in the swing states now. We are, of course, engaging, whether it's ad buys, whether it's phone calls. We've made hundreds of thousands of calls to voters. What is he doing? He may put up some money tonight with his hedge fund billionaire friends and a closed-door fundraiser in Palm Beach. We understand that. But we would never trade our campaign, our strategy here, just comparing the last Thursday's event in New York, over 5,000 people, sold-out venue in the most iconic venue in the United States, people giving everything from $25 up to a lot more than that. That is the kind of grassroots enthusiasm that is fueling us. And again, we are not spending money on legal bills. We are not hawking gold sneakers or any of that stuff.
Well, new reports today that President Biden used campaign donations to help pay his legal bills last year when the special counsel was investigating his handling of classified documents. The DNC reportedly paid more than $1.5 million to attorneys or law firms representing Biden. And the news comes as Biden's campaign has made recent attacks against former President Trump for his spending of campaign funds for legal bills.
Speaking of coming full circle, many critics say it's pretty rich considering how often the Biden campaign and the DNC mocked the RNC for picking up the tab with Donald Trump's legal bills. And now we have fresh reporting from Axios saying that for over 6 months, that's exactly what happened, that the Biden campaign was paying to get its legal bills fixed from that special counsel probe into the president's handling of classified information. Let's take a look at that Axios piece. Alex Thompson reporting, quote, from July 2023 to February 2024, the DNC paid $1.05 million to Bob Bauer, PLLC, the professional limited liability company for Biden's lead attorney, Bob Bauer.
Elect me. I'm in the 20th century, 21st century.
A couple of things. I'm going to be careful because obviously he was talking about 2024. I mean, look.
Actually, he was talking about the 20th century, as I recall.
Yeah, okay.
Since the president himself said that you guys are looking at those executive actions, can you talk? Is the sort of universe here just trying to restrict asylum claims? Is it changing processing times? Or is it as extreme? You know, President Trump, when he talked about it, talked about ending legal travel or legal trade across the border.
I think here's what I can say. We evaluate all options. Right, we do. We evaluate all options as it relates to executive actions. We just have not made a decision on this yet. But we believe, the president believes, it's important to evaluate those options to see what's at our disposal to move forward. And we haven't made a decision, but what we will continue to do is, because there is a proposal out there that is bipartisan, would deal with what the challenges that we're seeing at the border. We think it's important. It was supported by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, the Border Patrol unions. It is a bipartisan, again, proposal that we think would be tough and fair. We want to see Congress move forward with it. And so we're going to continue to call for that. But as it relates to what we're looking at, we're always looking at options. I just don't have anything. We're always going to evaluate our options. I just don't have anything to share. We haven't made a decision.
Why aren't we hearing more from the White House about the issues that people are facing at grocery stores and paying rent?
I mean, the State of the Union, the president made very clear about what he understands what the Americans are facing. And he's talked at almost every event that he's had crisscrossing the country after the State of the Union about lowering costs, how important it is, and how there's more work to do. You hear that. In New Hampshire and North Carolina, he spoke about his work to lower health care costs. In Las Vegas, he discussed his plan to build and renovate 2 million homes to lower housing costs. In Madison, he announced his student debt relief plan. He also spoke with Senator Sanders just last week about his progress lowering costs for prescription drugs and inhalers. This week, he spoke about plans to lower costs for child care, home health care, elder care. He talks about lowering costs almost every event. I just laid out the events that he did in March and in early April about how he's making sure that the number one economic concerns that Americans have are lowering costs.
Among the many painful prices, gasoline is now up again by more than 50% since the start of Biden's term.
Inflation is headed in the wrong direction right now. The latest consumer price report just out shows prices up 3.5%. This over same time last year.
Americans hoping to see the Federal Reserve cut interest rates as early as June may now have a longer wait, with inflation climbing for the third straight month.
The prices is too high.
The Consumer Price Index up 3.5% in March from a year ago, fueled by higher costs for rent, car insurance, clothes, medical care, and gas.
Yesterday in the Rose Garden, the president said that when he came into office, inflation was skyrocketing, but it was 1.4% in January of 2021, and that was the 11th consecutive month at that time under 2%. So was the president misleading Americans?
So when the president took office, and you know this, there was a pandemic. It was closing down businesses, closing down schools. And so it was drastically disrupting the supply chain. Let's not forget about that. And so that's what was going on. And that caused inflation around the world to increase. We know that. And then further increasing inflation was the Russia's war in Ukraine. And in fact, many other countries are even worse off because of that, because of what we've seen with Russia's war. So the president took historic action to deal with the disruption of the supply chain. Let's not forget what he did with the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. And so we have made progress in lowering costs. We've made progress in dealing with inflation. But that's what was happening when we walked in. The pandemic, the disruption of the supply chain, all of these things were happening when the president took office.
And I love your ears.